Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at setting up your material configuration, so your hire rates and your preferred components that the software is going to use when generating kit lists and drawings. So if we just open up a blank project, what we first need to do is choose the system scaffold system configuration that we're going to edit. Now, if you've only got one system type, tube and fitting, or layer, or cut block, then you can sort of jump this step. But essentially, you need to choose the system type that you want to create the configuration for. So we're going to go for tube and fitting. And then you need to come across to your configuration tab up on the top of the software here. And this will open up the full list of components contained within that system configuration for you. And there's a couple of levels of configuration we can do here. So as you see, we've got our scaffold components listed on screen here. So we've got tubes, decking beams, cladding, brackets, and all the other bits and bobs in there. With the tube and fit system, you do get some system scaffolds included. So some Van Thiel and Ready-Lock components, which is primarily transoms. Hacky is included for the stair towers, as is cut block. So with the Hacky cut block systems, because they're for the stair towers, there's no ability to turn on or off components for those, only setting prices. Whereas with the other categories, you can control the components. So if we take a look at our tube setup, you can see here there's tick boxes down the left hand side. You've got the component name, its preferred role, so we can actually configure a component for specific roles within a scaffold. So this length of tube, we can actually set it so that it doesn't get used for bracing, for example, by turning on and off these functions here. And then you've got some information, so the product weight and dimensions, and then a sort of image for reference. As we go down this list of tubular components, you can see that a lot of the meter dimensions are turned off by default, and we've got our lengths in feet turned on. Okay, and so depending on what length of tube you carry in the yard, you can turn these on and off. If you untick them, the software will not use them when generating your kit list or your drawing, and it will substitute that length for a slightly longer component with a bit of overhang, which will be displayed on the drawing. So you need to go through and choose which ones you want turned on and which ones you want turned off. And then you need to turn the pricing on, which is up here on the top menu. So we go show pricing, and that will give us some additional columns. So we can now choose whether or not each component is a hire or a sale item. Okay, the sale items will display separately on PriceIt and be pulled out from the weekly hire. So things like debris netting and plastic sheeting, you'll get a separate figure on your cost analysis attributed to the price of the item. And then we've got hire per week, extra hire, and our pricing method. So for example, none of these having prices set. So for our tubular components, we set a weekly hire price per meter of tube and an extra hire price per meter of tube. All that can be done per foot or per item. Okay, so again, you need to work your way down the list, set up all your prices. When you're done, you go up to save configuration, and you can either overwrite an existing configuration or you can give it a new name to create a additional configuration. So that way you can have more than one set of material rates, possibly for hire versus stock, or different customers or different work types. If you want to choose a configuration to edit, you can select the configuration here, and you can pick from your existing ones, and you can update their names here as well, and you can delete any configurations that you don't want here. And finally, you've got an export option, which allows you to export the complete configuration to a CSV file as a spreadsheet, so you can pull those prices out and review them or share them as necessary. Okay, and then once we're done, those are set in the software. When you create a project, either in Schedule It, you can choose your system configuration here, or if you're in Model It, it's in the Tools section, Change Scaffold System, and you can choose it here. And finally, it's also available in Report It, so we can change scaffold system here as well. Okay,